local leadership. She was in Africa when this was going on and then had to scramble back. They did cut money from the fire department in Los Angeles.
They cut about $17 million. But
today I've heard Democrats try to deflect and say, oh, you're not allowed to politicize this right now, which means you're not allowed to criticize the decisions that we've made out here in California. Interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have DEI.
Stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now you're sitting at a table with 3 very capable black women.
I'm not. I'm just simply saying that as a matter of public policy in California, the main interest in the fire department lately has been in DEI programming and budget cuts.
What's going on, guys? Unfortunately, everybody knows that this fire is a big deal out there in LA, California, with Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass, okay, the lady who is super duper LGBTQ, and her top priority is DEI, not safety. You should never have somebody who comes in and says that they're a public servant in a safety position, police officers, firefighters, or anything similar, and says anything besides safety as number one. You say anything else, you fired. But this lady, of course, cares about being gay as hell. Okay, she cares about rainbow flags.
Its leadership has since changed. Chief Crowley is an openly gay woman now.
It took me a couple years. I wasn't sure, and this was when I was new on the job. I was very kind of mindful about my personal life.
Freedom and justice for everyone. We're going to continue to march forward to fight for social justice, and social justice will be on display in a few minutes when we raise that flag.
Happy Pride, Los Angeles. Thank you so much for having me at the LA Pride Parade this year.
That's why she cut the budget. That's why they ran out of water and a myriad of other problems. Hell, insurance companies abandoned the place probably because they knew about all of this stuff and was like, oh, hell no. They knew it was a disaster waiting to happen. The insurance companies have the facts. The people who are the radical left Democrats don't have the facts, as you'll see in this panel we're about to react to, where we got Abby Phillip, Scott Jennings, of course, and we also got special guest today, Jasmine Ghetto Behind Crockett, okay? The sister with the clapback collection, because she feels like it was tactful for a attorney and congresswoman to go off on another congresswoman in a ghetto fashion, because you can take the hood chick out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of the hood rat. But without further ado, let's get into this.
President Trump has raised the issue of FEMA not having enough money, et cetera. The incoming president, I hate to say it, but he has a history of threatening to not fund fire relief, specifically to California.
What did they do to Puerto Rico?
She wants to talk about how they specifically, Donald Trump specifically said that he wasn't going to fund California. It's because Gavin Newsom wasn't doing his damn job. He said that he needs to actually take care of the dry forestry, like literally dead trees and leaves in the forest, consider controlled burns, make sure there's water, and they didn't do any of that. So you damn right, I would threaten to revoke the funding too, because their plan is actually to not use California funds, but instead just let disasters happen, let people burn alive, lose everything that they worked hard for their entire life, and then just have disaster relief come from the federal government to just repair everything. And you also get a bunch of government homes, because obviously, people don't have insurance, which many of them don't at this point. Then they end up just losing their house, and the government could swoop in, buy that, and boom, more homes for illegal migrants.
I mean, we spent historic amounts of money on Puerto Rico.
Let me just play what President Trump said. This was just in October about actually fires in California.
We're going to take care of our farmers. We're going to take care of your water situation, and we'll force it down his throat. And we'll say, Gavin, if you don't do it, we're not giving you any of that fire money that we send you all the time for all the forest fires that you have.
You notice how she didn't play the reasoning behind it. That's what you got me for over here at the Black Anomaly Rising channel. Subscribe if you're new.
The reason you have no water is because Gavin Newsom didn't want to do it. I had it all done. I had the Department of Commerce at the time. Believe it or not, they're the ones that rule on this particular issue. In order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. I said, with this intense heat, that you could see they were charred a little bit on the bottom, but they were going to be all right because they're soaking wet because they suck up the water, right? But when they fall, they're like, it's like lighting a match. Get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that have fallen.
Yeah.
It was the Department of Commerce that needed the approvals, but Gavin Newsom had to sign them. I got it all done. Nobody could believe it. You got so much water, all you have to do is sign. And that guy didn't want to sign. He's a lousy governor. And he treated me very nicely, and I treated him very nicely when I was president. But he's done a lousy job.
Policy changes should come along with this relief money here. With whatever it takes to rebuild and to fix, we have to look at the root causes, whatever forest management problems there are, whatever water problems there are, whatever issues happen in the local governance.
They're not going to do that because then they would have to accept the fact that literally the Democrats in charge are the problem. Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat Mayor Karen Bass, and the Democrat fire chief, I forget the lady's name, but there's also a woman, she's a Democrat, she's another DEI hire. Okay, it's Democrat across the board. There's nobody else to blame. Donald Trump's not the president, so they can't try to blame him. They're not blaming Joe Biden because he's the president, but they know he's not going to do nothing. So instead, they just try to blame whatever the hell else they can. Oh, it's climate change's fault. Like, these people don't make any sense.
Rebuilding here is a good thing, and everybody should support it. But we ought to, as taxpayers, expect necessary policy changes at the federal, state, and local level so that it doesn't happen again.
Does that include climate change and addressing that?
Just shut the fuck up. At a certain point, just shut the fuck up.
I find this conversation interesting because the current president is a Democrat. All of his appointees are Democrats. The leadership in California is all Democrats. We're doing a lot of doom casting about what Donald Trump may or may not do, but there doesn't seem to be much accountability for what the current people in charge didn't do that led to these issues, which I think the people of California should be asking those questions.
I think part of the issue is that there's a desire to cast blame.
Every time that Scott Jennings says, like, 3 words, then Abby Phillip feels the need to jump in, or somebody else. Like, this dude can't make a damn point.
He has talked about this issue of the water, which is not what's happening here. There is water. It's just that there's so much demand. There are 5 fires burning in California right now. Why is he going straight to politics and not simply offering support? I mean, he's not president yet, so he can't offer resources. But why does he have to start attacking people politically?
Well, first off, I would tell you the tragedy we see unfolding is terrible. And obviously we all want to start there. Water storage is a problem. And you said it yourself. There's not enough water to fight 5 fires. You can't build water storage in California because you can't build anything in California. There's one water storage project in Sacramento Valley they've been trying to build for 40 years. The reality is the left will not let it advance. There should have been more water storage, and that would have helped save lives and property.
But, I mean, what we are hearing from
Look at her just trying to play defense. She just asked about it. He gave you an answer, but she's trying to say, well, I mean, shut up, Abby. We know that this is an issue. It's been an issue. That's the reason why Trump was talking about withholding funds, and she doesn't want to. It's like, she's like, why play politics? It's like, okay, Gavin Newsom's the leader. Karen Bass is also one of the leaders. She's a mayor. At what point are the leaders to be held accountable? Just because it's a natural disaster, you can do preventative measures. A fire is not like an earthquake or a storm. You can take preventative measures and you can have better ways of handling it after it occurs. In disaster response, incident response is one of your duties as a leader. If you don't have good disaster response, then you are a terrible leader.
California officials is that this is a water pressure issue, that the water has to come down, and that in some areas the water pressure was lost as they tried to reestablish that pressure. It's not an absence of water. There is water that is
No,
available.
it's the same issue. If you got water storage up on a hill or water storage with pumps, then you can maintain that water pressure. The reality is when they needed water to come out of those hydrants, it was not available. And it takes 7 years to get the same kind of project done in our country that you can get done in Canada or Australia in 2 years. We have made it impossible to build things, and that is a government problem.
Is that the problem in this case with this massive, the fire of this scale is not just about can they put out this house or that house. This is a fire that is being accelerated by incredible winds.
And government policy plays into that too. We across this country have made it impossible to manage forests. A managed forest is a healthy forest. Instead, across the country, we have turned them into tinder boxes. We see it. And frankly, if we don't let the loggers get in and a targeted and appropriate way get that underbrush out there, we will see more terrible visions like we have seen on your screen.
See, look at Jasmine. Like, first off, this weave is out of control. The fake, she got everything on Jasmine Crockett is fake, between the hair, the eyelashes. She got fake contacts in. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's definitely fake contacts in. It's like fake. But she's mad. She knows she can't refute what's being said. That's why she hadn't said anything. That's why she just let Mr. Peabody over here have his way for a moment here, because there's not enough water and they're not taking care of the damn forest, and there's really nothing you can say otherwise about that. That is leadership, pure and simple.
There are a lot of other issues, climate change, even the forestry issues are very real here.
Yeah,
Again,
I agree.
Why not focus on that?
There are a lot of issues here, and it has a lot to do with local governance. I mean, today I've heard Democrats try to deflect and say, oh, you're not allowed to politicize this right now, which means you're not allowed to criticize the decisions that we've made out here in California. I keep hearing climate change all day. Nobody seems to want to take responsibility for the local governance that has led to some of the failures and the devastation that we're seeing.
Absolutely.
The mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, had one of the most disastrous public appearances I've ever seen in the face of an emergency today, when she was incapable of answering questions about her decision making. She had a terrible press conference. There's no.
Oh, did you guys see that, where she was asked questions and she just stood there and didn't say anything?
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up? I appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Freaking joke, man. Imagine a leader just freezing up like that. Man, that is so freaking pathetic.
No leadership. She was in Africa when this was going on and then had to scramble back. They did cut money from the fire department in Los Angeles.
They cut about $17 million. But
and people have questions about why that is. It's not.
But I just
it's not
wanna note
politicizing things to raise public policy questions when this devastation
Can I tell you?
$17 million was cut from the budget, which, by the way, she was under a lot of pressure from conservatives to cut the budget. The fire department.
What is pressure from what conservatives? What pressure? That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's a Democrat-run state for all intents and purposes. The majority of all the people across the entire state, be them senators, mayors, and the governor, are all Democrats. So what the hell does pressure from conservatives to cut the budget? That doesn't make any damn sense.
I think we can all acknowledge that with a $43 billion budget, there's enough money to pay the firefighters and the cops.
I know, but
this is not a false dichotomy.
All I was saying was that I don't know that it has anything to do with the readiness of the fire.
Okay, but here's what I know. When she was cutting the fire department $17 million, she was putting millions more into cannabis regulation. At some point, these decisions about who our leaders are have impacts on real people's lives.
And they signal priorities, because also in California, you might have recall a news story from last year. There was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California, and the interest was that there were too many white men who are firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have
all the black women. We're so upset. We're so upset. We're just gonna interject and not let Scott speak. I'm tired of these freaking bozos. This is literally what happened. You know, don't act like Scott's shouldn't be feeling some sort of way about this because they prioritize DEI over saving the lives of people burning alive.
We have DEI, we have budget cuts, and yet I'm wondering now, if your house is burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighters are?
You can respond and then we'll...
Listen, I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is black women. So let me be clear.
Oh, isn't that interesting? I've heard that lie before. Let me go ahead and fact check that. The percentage of black women that enrolled in college in relation to other race genders. So they considered college enrollment to be an indicator of who was the most educated. Because you enrolled in college, you were therefore the most educated. Not whether or not you necessarily graduated, not having anything to do with grades, because you enrolled. You see what I'm talking about, guys? This is the type of stuff that gives people in trouble because they think they can quote a study and they think that they know what the hell they're talking about, and then they make themselves look stupid.
Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House, and I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So listen, if we have been good enough to build this country, we are good enough to serve and die overseas, we are good enough to serve in other ways. And the fact that people actually decide that they want to engage in public service, whether it's sitting in Congress or whether it's serving on the fire department or the police department, should not be an issue. The fact is, stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now, you're sitting at a table with 3 very capable black women.
There's literally nothing coherent about anything that Jasmine Crockett just said. Just because you say a lot of words and you roll your neck and you start talking about black women, this and that, doesn't mean that there's actually any substance behind what you say. The fact of the matter is, this person prioritized hiring black, hiring LGBTQ, hiring women. They did not prioritize safety. Pure and simple. None of this, oh, you act like the white men are the only people who could do the job right. Well, if you get people up in there who only care about hiring black and LGBTQ and women, then you damn right. If a fire is happening, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I want a white man to come in. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I want some gay black woman to come in and save me. Are you freaking serious with me right now?
I'm not. I'm just simply saying that as a matter of public policy in California, the main interest in the fire department lately has been in DEI programming and budget cuts, and now we have this massive fire.
Are we really, but Scott, are we really blaming the fire department? The people in the LA fire department,
I'm blaming the
right?
Democrats who run the state.
No, but the fire department right now, they are dealing with a historic fire, okay?
And they have
I like how anytime anything's going wrong and you try to say, hey, the leadership sucks, they're like, well, you can't say that. They're struggling right now. Yeah, well, why the hell is that?
That is caused by climate, by the fact that it is extremely dry in the state of California, and they are fighting it in tropical force winds.
Earlier, Abby said she didn't know what was causing the fire. Now, Abby has repeatedly on this show, you saw it yourself, has said that it was caused by climate change, which there's absolutely no evidence of. This is what a leftist brain looks like, retarded.
In that state. So how is it anything to do with DEI? How is it anything to do with the fire department at all? They are doing their very best as far as I know.
The fire department is not doing a good job. No. What, is it the water that's the problem? It's the fire department is the problem? Is it a $17 million budget cut to an $800 million budget? I don't think that those are the issues that have caused this horrendous.
Yeah, and that's why you continue to fail. Because you don't know what the hell the issue is. If you knew what the issue was and people like you were doing a good job, you wouldn't have a problem. But they don't want to look inward. They never do.
The wildfires that are in California at this time. And to bring DEI into this so early. I mean, how long have we been talking and you already came in with the DEI? Oh my God, you didn't even give us.
I mean, if I were you, I wouldn't want to. If I were trying to defend California Democrats, I wouldn't want to hear me talk about it either. But the fact is, this has been mismanaged from a public policy perspective from top to bottom.
I don't think this is about California Democrats, but I do think, to the Congresswoman's point, it's very telling that whenever you're talking about a woman, the fire chief being a woman or the mayor being a woman, it's always DEI. Why does DEI not ever come into play when you're talking about a white man?
No, let's be clear, though. It's not.
What white man has said, my priority is to hire white men?
That just like your budget tells people what your priorities are, what you talk about in your bio, what you talk about on your website, what you emphasize in recruitment helps people understand what are your priorities in the organization.
They are putting their lives on the line.
And they're incredible.
As we speak.
And they're incredible.
They are putting their lives on the line.
The political leaders aren't. The firefighters are.
I'm talking about the firefighters, okay? The ones who are recruited, the black ones, the brown ones, the women, they are all there on the line right now. Everyone stick around.
Abby plays such defense for the Democrats. It's so freaking sickening, guys. Like, I'm glad this other guy was on here to kind of back Scott up, because I mean clearly Scott was outnumbered here by a bunch of buffoons. I mean, if you ask me, this is not, if this is supposed to be a great showing of how smart and intelligent black women are, I don't think that you did a good job out here defending California Democrats when they literally ran out of water. They're next to the fucking ocean and they ran out of water. When they cut the budget to the fire department, they don't have enough employees. Insurance companies knew this and they bailed. And you have a woman who prioritizes, two women who prioritize DEI as both the mayor and the fire chief, as opposed to public safety. These women made themselves look stupid and are a joke trying to defend this and try to say, well, I don't think it's any of those things. Well, what the hell do you just think it's just climate change and would happen no matter what? 'Cause I guarantee you, if Donald Trump was in office, you'll find every single little thing, whether it was his fault or not, that was a problem. But since it's Democrats in charge, you don't want to see any issue here. I don't understand how people's brains could function like this. I mean, newsflash for me, I guess they don't. They're not using their brains at all. These people have empty heads, apparently. But guys, whose fault do you think it is? Do you think it is climate change's fault? Do you think it is the radical leftists in charge, the fire chief, Gavin Newsom, all of the above? Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. Climate change ain't got a damn thing to do with this. I'm out.
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
And then the new female lesbian fire chief of LA says, well, my main job is bringing women in and gay people in. No, your main job was doing fire breaks and getting the best firefighters. But no, you don't do that. Oh, we're so impressed. You can eat pussy. We better let you burn the city down. I mean, who cares what you do in your bedroom, you stupid whore?